the LA probate expert. And this is our Tuesday afternoon real estate investing Zoom. We get together every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern, talk about all things real estate investment. We talk about, for new people, how to get started. We talk about, for investors, how to buy property, where to buy property, flipping, wholesaling. We've had presentations here recently on multifamily, single family, out of state. Real estate agents, how to buy and sell property, represent people. And so all things real estate investment. From time to time, I have the chance to bring on an expert who can teach us. And today I have with us one of the key vendors I work with, actually. He's a coaching company as well as a successful investor. And answer the question I get a lot is, well, where do I get started? How can I get started? Joe Arias and Real Success, welcome to our call today.
Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to be here, Bill, and hi everyone there. I see Anders, Winston. I see everyone there, Abraham, Heidi, and Sophia, and a few more. Thank you for being here.
Great. So tell us a little bit about your business. Let's go back to, if you can, maybe just a little bit on how you, where you came from and kind of how you got started in investing in real estate.
Yeah. So where did I come from? I came from the film business. 10 years ago, I flipped my first property. And the last 10 years, me and my partners have flipped over 100 properties here in Los Angeles and California, because we've done a bunch. We started in Palm Springs, and then we moved back here. I was in the film business, and before that, I was living in Argentina. So I came to the U.S. on a soccer scholarship when I was 19. I was in the entertainment business for 10 years. I'm 39 now. And 10 years ago, I made the switch. I love storytelling. And I think it's from my dad telling me stories when I was a kid. But I wanted to be a director. And 15 years ago, Bill, what happened was I was making money, but I was also spending it. And every year, at the end of the year, I feel like I would never move forward. Like I was never it was always like a struggle for me. There was always this little bit of a stress building. And, 10 years ago, I said, I'm going to flip just one house. I want to continue with my career. And I did really well in the first flip. And then I did the second one and I did even better. And after a year, I was like, I'm hooked. And I love real estate, regardless. But I was hooked into the whole. I didn't know that flipping houses was, I just thought it was just going to be about money, but it turned out to be about, making something ugly beautiful and then getting to know people that are buying those houses and getting to know those families. And, there's a limit about the money. And then it started being something that made me feel good. Oh, similar to being an agent, right? Like everyone likes to collect their checks, but also when you actually make such a big difference to a family for the rest of their lives, it's incredible. It's a feel good and do good. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I started 10 years ago.
No, I got it. So you started 10 years ago, and then you, from there, end up now with basically an academy to teach people. So how did you get started teaching people to do their own transactions?
Well, what happened was I started flipping, and I thought it was super easy because I did 4 months of work on the first flip, made north of $50,000. And the second one, I made north of $100,000 in just 5 months. I was like, oh, this is easy. I can do it. I have no experience. This worked really well, no issues. Even though we have a few little issues, I could have made even more money. I'm like, this is totally doable. And then I bought 9 properties. And I was like, my stress levels, I don't like to use the word stress, but my stress levels went up. And that's where I started to, I need help. I need a coach. I need, I literally just walked at a meeting with my coach, 30 minutes ago. But I said, I need a coach. I need to take that energy, good or bad, and put it in a way that I could actually create more things that will make me happy. And that's how I started. That's how and then I flipped houses. when you start doing real estate, some of you know this, better than anyone, is you start maybe being an agent, but you start cross-pollinating different markets within real estate. You start getting an interest in buying rentals, maybe flipping houses, maybe management houses, right? Management. And I developed a great coaching system. I know how much value the coaches that I hired and I spent a lot of money in the past did to me. And also I got, after you do a bunch of flips, you start using the same documents. I was able to perfect this document that I raised, over $10 million in private money. So you start utilizing documents that are, they just work. Or after like doing, I got like 15 kitchens that were, for some reason, these kitchens were selling much faster than like when I put these kitchens in these flips, they will sell much faster than other kitchens or than other flips. So I was like, why is this house selling faster? I didn't understand it. And I noticed that the two most important parts of the house, when you flip it, is what? The kitchen. And the master bath, right? And I started using templates and making partnerships with Home Depot. And now I just select a kitchen, I push send, and it sends the entire scope of work to Home Depot, and I get the kitchen delivered in 2 weeks. And also I like that because when I get a contractor, a lot of people get bids, contractors, and if there's a contractor in this call, I love them all. And a lot of the issues come from all your money, you make it on the buy. You have control on the purchase price. Why? Because if you don't like the purchase price, you just don't buy it. But a lot of the money, a lot of the profits might get lost in the remodel. We do have some kind of a control on the sale, doing the comps, not a lot of control, but we can project. But the remodel is where a lot of people get screwed. So having the systems that I created really helped when I got a new contractor. Usually when I work with the same people, but if you have a new contractor, maybe you're farming a new area. I just get my scope of work. I got all in my list of materials, and I tell the guy or here or her, I said, listen, this is the house, this is the kitchen. Just give me a bid on the labor. And what happens is the prices just go down. And also they know that they're working with a pro. And funny enough, some of the investors that I've been coaching, they use the same thing. And the contractors literally think that they've been doing this for years.
Right. Yeah, no, I've had the pleasure of working with particularly one of your students. And so you're right. It does translate your system. You're able to give to somebody else and help them with that. So tell me about people who, haven't yet done their first investment. What is the biggest challenge you see from going from 0 to 1? And what do you do to help them kind of get over that hump? Because I see that all the time. People who,
all the time. And
I appreciate people come on this call or other calls I do weekly for a period of time. And a year later, I'll say, well, how many properties have you invested? And they'll say none. And I'll say, how could be none? It's like the greatest market in history right now to buy property for investment. So what do you see is the biggest challenge for that person who's at 0 trying to get to 1? And then how do you get from 0 to 1? What do you do to push them over that hump?
I'm going to write this down, because what happens is I start talking, I get passionate, and I never answer any questions. So 0 to 1. And then what's the second one?
No. And how do you get them over that hump? How do you get them from 0 to 1? What's the challenge they're facing, and what do you do to get them over that?
So I want to say something before I answer that, is that, this happens to me a month ago. I was doing a marketing campaign, and I got a little bit of a fraud. Someone go into my account and took $5,000 from my marketing money, right? And what happened was I got triggered. I was like, what happened? Someone literally got into my bank account, right? And I got triggered, and I was able to get the money and all, but it was okay, right? But I got triggered, and then I thought about it. I said, if someone comes and touches our account, personal, business, whatever that account is, we'll have a definitely visceral reaction, right? But here we are as agents, investors, where if not hundreds of thousands, dozens of thousands of dollars that were not taken for the actions we did not do or take. Yep. So all this money that we don't know that was never in our account because we never took action. And it's kind of like a little bit like that. I feel like given that we are in such a beautiful country, such a beautiful state, it's a great market for flips, right? Rentals, different conversation. Maybe not the best place to actually get cash flow on rentals, California, but great for flips. It's almost like a crime not to do it. Not a crime, but it's a great opportunity to actually take action. Now, how do you go from zero to one? And that comes to problems and solutions, right? As agents, you guys do a phenomenal job. The homeowner, the seller had a big issue, an obstacle problem, and you guys have an amazing responsibility that is a solution. When you're starting flipping, there's also some obstacles that people have. How do they get the money, right? A lot of people don't know that actually I don't put any of my money on my flips, right? And not because I'm scared to lose the money or, for any reasons that people might have, but it's just not scalable. If you put your own money, you might be able to do one flip. But when you're starting, you want to do one maybe in the first 6 months, but then you want to anything that we do as entrepreneurs, we want to have a scalability. We want to have a system formula. If you cannot systemize it, I just don't do anything. I just don't do it. Right. So every time I do something, I think about, can I systemize this? Can I make it into a business? So finding the money, number one, you do not need your money. Also, if your credit is not that good, also you don't need a good credit. Second issue, finding off-market deals. How do you find off-market deals? It's a big one, right? A lot of people look in the MLS. Well, the MLS is not, you can find deals in the MLS, but it's not the best place to actually make a business off. So we deploy tons of different campaigns to find off-market deals, and we teach our students to do the same. Which, as an agent, it's amazing to invest in flip, because you can skin the cat so many different ways. You can leverage marketing, you can leverage your own remodels, where you can put a sign outside and market yourself, market a next property that you might represent. You have a great excuse to go and work out a neighborhood. I know that there's a specific term agents use to network a neighborhood. I don't remember the name, but farming. To farm a neighborhood. So finding the money, off-market deals, asset protection, very important. You can get a great property as an investor. You can buy it. You can be doing a great job in the remodel, and then something happens, God forbid, subcontractor, something happens. Even like you driving your car, and God forbid something happens, you hit someone, God forbid, and then they come against you. Well, are you owning the property on your own name? Are you owning the property on an LLC, S corp, trust land? I mean, I use trust. That's all I use, but everyone has their own strategies. It's another problem that people face, right? Other issues, contractors, all the legal documents, right? Going through the process of getting a contractor. I mean, that's another one. Legal documents. I spent over $30,000 on legal documents. These days, you hire an attorney. They'll give you a document they gave it 20 times, and they'll charge you $500 for one document. So I've been gathering all these things throughout the years. So I created a software, a website where our students get access to it, where everything is done for you. And then with coaching, with weekly coaching, it's like the glue to information and implementation together.
Got it. Yeah, I've seen that people get hung up and they kind of on their own. I literally had a meeting today with a really nice lady, and she's got a great smile, a lot of energy, smart. And I always ask people, if anybody listening on the phone call, I'll meet with anybody who'd like to for 15 minutes, half hour. If we get started, to give you some direction based on my experience. I don't have a coaching program. I'm not selling anything, but I'll give you my best advice based on what I see. And I'm always looking for three things. I say it takes three things to be successful in anything in life. One is a coach or a leader or a mentor or a priest or pastor, somebody who's I'm sorry?
Yeah, exactly. Someone, right?
Someone. There's got to be somebody who is that you acknowledge is the example or gives you the direction, not necessarily veto power over everything, but at least is an example that you want to work towards. Second is you have to have a community of people or a team that you're part of, or colleagues, or other people doing the same thing, other students, other members of the community would be second. And third is you have to have a defined process. You need to know that I do A, then B, then C, then D, and then repeat. A, B, C, D, repeat. You can't be figuring it out as you go along. And so I was talking to this lady, and I kept asking her questions, and I got down to those three. And it's clear to me that she has a lot of enthusiasm, but no clear direction. And so I know you have flipped hundreds of houses. I know that you have a group of people. I've been there. I spoke in front of your group one time. I was privileged to do that a live event back when we did them. When was that? Oh, about 2 months ago. And then third, I know you have a clear process. So walk me through, I know you have an upcoming summit. Walk me through the process for somebody who's new to get started. What do they need to do? And what does their day look like? If they're going to work in real estate as an investor, what does their process look like to be successful in investing? Because I see them spending a lot of wheels and a lot of time on things that are a waste of time. But what do you see that they need to do in order to be successful?
There's a lot of, when you were talking about having an example, having a mentor, I love tennis, right? After work and my fiance, tennis is my thing. I love tennis. I might not be the best player, but I love it. And what happened was I played tennis for many, many years without a coach. And I learned to play tennis the wrong way. A few years ago, I hired someone, and it took more time to actually unlearn what I learned and now to start learning good habits. Mm-hmm. That is really important in anything we do in life, in any career, but inside of real estate, it's not just the coaching, but it's also the right direction, right? The right coaching. And also I was thinking, I know you were mentioning 3 things. Another 4th thing I think is very important is your why. I know people talk a lot about the why, but why do you really want to do this? Yeah. Like the finding out why, even as an agent, right? Finding out why do you want to do it? And usually it's not about money, right? Like money will solve certain issues short term, but long term, there's also like a more rooted, loving reason why we want to do something, right? Going back to your question, what are the steps? There's a lot of information in the internet. Now, that could be a positive, but I also feel
whoa. There's a lot of information in the internet. There's good information and there's a lot of information.
That's right. And I was going to say that. And, you can literally be right about any crazy theory that you might have. You just need to type those words and some article is going to show up. So when you don't know what you should be looking at, you can learn the wrong way how to flip houses, how to get started in the business. So I think it's really important, whoever it is, that they have experience, they have their best interest, your best interest at heart, and they really want you to win. I think that for me, Bill, now bringing it home, the reason why I'm doing a 2-day event coming up next month. And the reason why we're doing this is because, we learn an hour here about this and an hour other, we learn little pieces of information, but I figure that moves things, but it's really important to literally be for 2 days. If I could do it for 2 weeks, I would do it, but at least for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, bring that like investor hat, learner, take notes, be part of a bigger group, be part of a community. Also, as an agent, it's a great opportunity to network investors as well and talk to people. But without even having an agenda, just, if anything, just learn how to flip and own rentals, because flipping is just one part of it. You can't, it's like, it's having this, the food without the dessert, or, I don't know if I can find a better, example, but you need like rentals. Without rentals, flipping is not the best strategy. Flipping is a great strategy to get, good amount of money in a short amount of time. But after that, we deploy a strategy called the 50-50, where we reuse the profits on our flips into the business, marketing, or whatever it is. And then the other 50, we deploy it into rentals, building a rental portfolio. It's, if you want to get anything out of this conversation today, is having a good rental portfolio. If you have a lot of cash, do it in California and get appreciation. But if you don't, if you have $100,000, $200,000, just do it outside of California. There's great returns over 20-25% once you start including appreciation and cash flow and all that good stuff. There's some really good things happening right now. A lot of emerging markets, in the US. So my suggestion would be, people get a lot of value out of coming to these events, because we literally like sit down, and it's not just information. It's just like, let me give you information, you process it at real time, and then let's see how you can implement.
So your event is 2 days, February 26, 27. What's the cost?
It's $195. Actually, it's more. It went up yesterday. Or 2 days ago. So my partner was giving me a hard time. It's just like, don't stop saying it's $195. It's $295. But I told him, can I get a code so I can keep the price low? And he said yes. So I got a code, and it's 2dayseminar.com, and then when you buy your ticket, I know you didn't ask me what's the website, but can I say it, Bill? So
go ahead. Yeah.
I can tell people the code so they can. You asked me about the pricing, and I just went to the website. But
I booked this a month ago, and I didn't actually do it just for your program, but I do think that I spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching, and programs like this are really, you're paying for the room to sit, to get notes, to meet people. I'm not selling this. I'm not getting paid a penny on this. I don't want a penny on this. I make really good money selling houses, but I do want people to invest in the most valuable asset, which is themselves, and network with people and learn from somebody. If you really want to invest property, I can't teach you. I don't have a system. I don't have the time. I'll answer some questions. I'll do my best to help you, and I'll point you. And frankly, Joe, you're one of 2 or 3 other people I refer to, because some people like chocolate ice cream, some like vanilla ice cream, and I want them to find somebody, but they need to get started. They need to get into action, and you're not charging a fortune to get started. You're really offering at a very reasonable price. So
I don't. And like when sometimes people ask me, Joe, what is there for you? And there's a lot of, we got a beautiful room in the Sheraton. I mean, we're probably gonna like break even after everything's done and set, but or maybe made a little bit of money, but that's not the point. The point is, it's a 2-day event. There's 2 major goals. One goal is bringing massive value to people, right? At the end of the second day, if people want to continue with me, there's going to be like an opportunity. But even if you don't continue, if you say, Joe, you got me for 2 days, I learned so much, I'm ready to take action. Even if you go there and you invest 2 days of your life, and you don't continue, and in the future, which is perfectly fine. Either way, right? We're here to support whatever decision. I promise that in those 2 days, at least my commitment, I know a lot of people got a lot of value, and I keep on like delivering on what's happening. So I think that the time and energy and money investment is phenomenal for 2 days.
And I'll say this, I would go, but I can't go on. It's on Saturday, Sunday. It's because it's convenient for most people. Personally, I work hard Monday through Friday. I work half a day on Sunday, but I want to be with my family. So for me, most of these events, I would go to this if it was during the week, because it's business for me. I just don't have the time and the freedom, let's say, to go on a weekend like this. But when I was new, these are kinds of things that I did regularly. And I went to one every 3-4 months to learn, because the most valuable asset is you. So 2dayseminar.com, I have the website. What's the code? Yeah, I booked you a month ago. So you can't not give us the old price. What's the code to get the old price?
Yeah, I think it's going to go to like $600 for the next few weeks. So the code is 2022. And once they put the code, it's going to be $195. And what I love about it is that you can bring a +1 included. That is a business partner, a friend. Just bring someone that you actually care for and you see a future. Because I always say that like doing something with doing a new or the same venture with the team, you start building a team is really, really, really important.
So you can bring your spouse or your girlfriend, just not both.
Yeah, and exactly. Don't bring them together at the same time.
Okay, sit them on opposite sides of the room. I'm talking really big. My wife's in the other room. I got to be careful here. So, okay. Look, this wasn't meant to be an advertisement, but gosh, $195. If I told you the money I spend on services and PropStream and computer services, I run a business. This is a business, and I think I'm booking a trip to Florida in June for my business. I was in Las Vegas. I spent in Florida last year. I spent probably $20,000 on seminars between the hotels, travel time, and the content. This one you can drive to. It's in the San Gabriel Valley. So it's a beautiful hotel at the Sheraton. It's $195. And for those of you who work or have other jobs on the weekend, so it's a great opportunity for you to learn a lot of stuff. And a number of you on the phone call have called me on some basic things. How do I get started? Here's a chance. And there's a number of these programs. I recommend Joe's. I feel confident. I saw him in action at an event. I saw you at Lloyd Siegel's event a few months ago at Ackerman Hall, UCLA, which I hate UCLA and I hated being there, but it was a great event. And one of the things was discovering your team. I saw you had a number of people. You had some great books, some great material. And I heard you speak and I felt the passion you have for helping people follow this path. So if you're interested, 2dayseminar.com, code number is 2022. He'll honor the price that was available up until 2 days ago. And okay, so we have here a master who's done hundreds of flips. The goal of my program is always to be interactive. This is a chance to do that.
Joe,
So, right now,
I'll tell you what, I don't need that code. I'll pay you double if we can do it some other time.
Abraham's like me, he can't go on a Saturday. So you can send your girlfriend and your on Saturday and your wife on Sunday, Abraham. I say that because I know his wife.
That would work. Yeah, let's do it that way.
And I know his wife, and she's probably listening over his shoulder, going to kill me.
Now I'm going to have to pay you triple just for listening to this.
Plus the legal fees. Okay, so who's got a question for Joe? Either unmute and jump in, or raise your hand, or put in the chat box if you have a question. And here's a chance to ask somebody who's literally flipped hundreds of houses, how to be successful, how to build your career, how to manage your money. Here's a chance to do that. So who's got a question for Joe? Cheryl Williams first. Cheryl, you're muted. Go ahead.
There I go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, Happy New Year. Long
New
time
Year.
no see. I'm a real estate agent, but I also have the desire to, become an investor like this, because that's what I want to do is have, because everybody else in my family has rental properties, but that's the goal. But I wanted to ask you about your credit, the credit thing that you mentioned about you don't have to have good credit, because I feel like that's the thing that is, holding me back personally. I haven't transacted any real estate as yet, I'm kind of in the new box as a realtor, but my side thing is, finding properties and fixing them up and flipping them, because I have a design background and I love that stuff. And I want to
look at that. Look at your smile when you say that. Wow. Wow.
When you love a thing, you love a thing, it's like, get the camera, let me do a commercial. No, but so yeah, I want to know, because if I can circumvent that part, I want to, I've come across properties and it's like, I would buy it myself, but I don't have any gravitas, any good credit, any money in the bank or anything. And I know that you can leverage, things. So what do you do about that? I mean, is that a day's lessons worth of
Yeah.
Not good credit?
Yeah, great. So Cheryl, the question is, where you are right now in the situation, how can I actually leverage what I don't have to get me where I want to go?
Right. And I have things like to use, like I'm an agent, I have access to information that may be off market or whatever it is. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
First off, super exciting. I heard that you're starting your agent, you're a new agent, you might be in the business for a few years. The fact that if you choose to do flips and you get there, and your career as an agent will accelerate so much, because what happens is once you start flipping a house, you can put a sign outside, I buy houses, right? So as an agent, I don't practice being an agent, but I got so many opportunities doing my flips. I put a nice sign outside, says I buy houses like this one. We all seen them when we drive. And I get people saying, hey, Joe, I got a house like 2 blocks away. Would you buy it from me? And I know that if I would have been an agent, if I didn't buy that house, I could still represent them, because you see these people every day for 2-3 months and you build a relationship.
Right. So how do I get to that? Yeah,
that's one, right? So first off, I wanted to present it. It's very appealing. You do not need credit. So the way it works, Cheryl, is you're not looking at a conventional loan. You're not going to get a 30-year fixed 3.25%, blah, 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 FHA. You're going to get a hard money loan. And what a hard money loan is, it's a loan. When you get a conventional loan, they'll give you a loan based on your ability to repay. within 15, 30 years. They actually want you to take longer so the interest goes up. When a lender is lending you 90% of the money you need to purchase a flip and 100% of the remodel, that's almost like 95%, let's say, of all the money that you need, they're giving you the loan based on the property itself. So that if you are not able to continue paying, no problem. A few months you're late, we'll take the property and we'll flip it ourselves. That is why you do not need a good credit. Now, having said that, a good credit will help keeping the 2 points, the 10%, the rates a little bit lower. But I know lenders that will actually, give you the same loan with or without credit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I wish I had known that a couple of weeks ago, but
well, but don't just say that also, because every day is a carpe diem, right? We have to live the moment, and today you get a choice, and tomorrow you'll learn something you did not know today. So it's I always sometimes I take myself, and I wish I would have started real estate, buying rentals, blah 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 in the past, and I stopped myself. No, today is today, and I'm what I know today makes me more, I'm grateful, I'm humbled, and gives me an opportunity to see life through a different view.
Part of what you're also paying for when you go to these programs, where I met Joe, for example, there's other vendors there, there's other people networking to develop business. There's a lot of hard money lenders. There's a very few that are any good. You got to kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince. And so because Joe does business and has a network, he's going to introduce you to some people who are going to get the job done for him. So great question, Cheryl. Thank you so much. I see a hand up, iPhone 13 Pro. I don't think that's really your name, if I had to guess. What's your name and how can we help you? You're muted. iPhone 13 Pro with your hand up.
On me, okay. I'm Justin Tucker, real estate agent based in the Palm Springs area.
Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Okay. So Joe, you sound like you've been doing this for quite a while.
That's right.
When you first began your journey, what lenders did you turn to?
I don't remember exactly which lenders I used 10 years ago. I think I was working with a company called Lending Home. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I did use hard money, and I used private money. And this is the other part, Cheryl, that I wanted to share with you. 95% of the money you get from hard money, and then the other 5 to 10% you get from private money. Private money is someone that has some money in their account that is generating them 1% a year, while you're able to give them a return for 10%. So Justin, that was the lender that I was using. And I also use hard money and I use private money. I didn't use my own money.
Okay.
I see. And what sort of interest rates were you willing to entertain when you began your journey?
Well, I was willing to entertain whatever. I just didn't know. I didn't know anything. So I just whatever was available at the time. I think that I paid similar rates as right now. I mean, I pay 2% and 9 or 10 points. 2 points and 9 or 10%.
Joe?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing my second flip, and we're using our own money. My wife was afraid to use hard money. And in both cases, we've run, just being new and we've had some serious delays in the projects. Paying that money would have had my lunch. So we're moving like molasses, putting all our money into one deal at a time. But that 10% would have taken a big bite.
Well, they're
balance that out.
How much was the property?
So the first one we bought for 20, it's out of state, it's in Kansas City. The first we bought for 20, put 40 into it.
Okay. So you bought it, you borrow, let's say you borrow $50,000 in conversation.
Okay.
$50,000 at a 10%, it's is $5,000.
Right.
For 6 months is $2,500. So if you ask me, Joe, would you be willing to give $2,500? Now, I don't know if you stay in the project for how long, but if you ask me, would you be willing to give away $2,500 of your profits and put zero of my money?
Mm-hmm.
I would take that all day long.
Well, I think that's part of it. Also, to Cheryl's point, being able to do that, even if you break even, maybe you're the agent, you get the listing. And maybe now you finish one flip and you now can get better financing the next time because you finished one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think this is the attitude of a business versus a commission job. If it's a job flipping houses, then you have to get your $10 an hour or $15 an hour wage. But a business often invests time, effort, energy for a return over a period of time. And so it's really about the attitude, how you look at it. And Abraham, you had historic delays. You had COVID. You had, I happen to know your situation a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we have delays in supply chain. We have weather issues, health of a particular contractor. So, and still you made money on them. You make as much as you would have liked. I don't know if I'm speaking out of school here, but if I am.
Bill, when you get in detail, you start noticing some new nuances that, for instance, Abraham, when you were flipping that property, where did you live?
I live here in California. You're talking about go out of state, so we did.
That would be one thing that I would absolutely tell our students, our investors not to do. Flipping out of state.
Uh-huh.
I'm not surprised you went over budget. I'm not surprised. Yeah. I do not suggest it. We don't do that practice.
It's costly.
It's very costly. You could do rentals if you hire a management company to rent it for you. But if we would have worked together, I would have tell you, don't put any of your money, keep your money so you don't stressed out that much, and don't invest there because, it's kind of like having a long-term relationship. You could do it for too long, but it's at some point, something.
Yeah.
But even in the case of Abraham, he knew nobody in Kansas City 2 years ago. And now a couple bad contractors and one or two good ones. Right. So that's where
Kansas is a great city to place to rent.
And I've told Abraham this, and I would tell every real estate agent, when you invest yourself, part of it is your return for your money. Of course, if you're not using your money, it's safer. But part of it is you have customers who want to follow you. So you've done the heavy lifting, Abraham, in Kansas City. And I've been telling you all along, you need to be sharing new opportunities with your clients who want to invest because they're not going to make the mistake of hiring the wrong contractor that you did the first time. You've already hired him and will reject him. You've narrowed the field down of, unfortunately, a few bad contractors out of the system. And so that's the advantage for a realtor, Cheryl in particular, is when you do this, even if you learn a couple of times and break even, now you've created a business that you can regenerate to other people. Anders, I know you've had your hand up for quite a while. I want to get you if I can. Yeah, that is the goal. It is the goal for sure. My goal too.
Okay, Joe. So from what I understand, you've been flipping in Los Angeles. Are you still flipping in Los Angeles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
We started in Palm Springs. So Justin he said he was from Palm Springs.
So how do you permitting? So we had a house that that took 1 year for the city of Los Angeles to give us a permit to renovate. We were going to add an ADU, and after 1 year, we sold it to an investor. We made a little bit of money on it, but we had to sell it because we couldn't wait anymore. We were going to start losing money on it. But we were going to have an ADU or add an ADU to that property too. And when we sold it, we had not gotten the permit, and we talked to the guy that bought it, and he still hasn't gotten the permit, and we're getting up to 14 months for that ADU. How do you do with permits, and how do you get them a lot faster than
great question, Anders. Very good.
The 1.5 year.
Sophisticated question. I really appreciate that. What neighborhood were you did you have that home?
Cypress Park.
Cypress Park. And that's inside of LA, city of LA?
Yes.
Okay. There are places that you do not, maybe this was not the case, but there's places you do not want to flip. Places like Santa Monica. We all heard about Santa Monica. It takes about 2 years to actually get a permit. I have a buddy of mine that is developing a fourplex there. So when I flip Anders, like if that would have been a rental, I would have rented out the house until I get the permit. And then I just got cash coming in to offset the mortgage and whatnot. If it's a flip, I would never do an ADU on a flip. You need an engineer, you need an architect, you need to submit the plans. Sometimes you need someone to make sketches, but sometimes the sketches are not good enough. The ADU will bring a lot of value, but you're talking literally about building a new house. Like, right? Their own everything. Their own, you have your own meter and it's basically creating a new house. So we do not use that strategy. We literally get over-the-counter permits. We don't do additions. I didn't do another story. You just literally remove a few walls in the kitchen to open the feng shui, the energy. Remodeled floors. Paint, new appliances. Check the rough plumbing, rough electric. But really, we do not. Any strategy we deploy, it takes about 2 months to 3 months into the remodel. That's why my profits are not huge. I don't teach our students purposely to get huge profits. Get a $50,000 profit and move on. Because when you start, if you make $100,000, good for us, right? But as long as it's not taking risk. Flipping works really well when you don't take risks, especially when you don't know it. So buy low, sell market price, make that $50,000. Don't get into any long-term permits, everything over the counter.
It's called a flip, not a heavy lift and slowly turn over a 2-year period.
No, but
Absolutely.
we've done flips where we've done exactly the same thing. Not ADU though, but we've had additions.
ADU is the major word you just added.
Yeah, but we've had additions and
That's another major word.
That took a maximum of 6 months. Now, as the city of Los Angeles have been advertising a lot that we should add ADUs to get over the housing crisis, and they supposedly fast tracking these ADUs. And if more than 12 months is fast tracking,
Well, you think about it, ADUs, you're employing a lot of people, so it's good for the city. You're literally paying food for a lot of families, tons of families that are getting fed by building an ADU. So, and then if everyone is doing it, it's a great investment for the market, right? People are putting money out, and you're going to get your return in years. Making an ADU can cost anywhere from $60,000 to $150,000, depending how big it is. So you're literally adding square footage to your property. So it's expensive and it takes time.
Yeah, we had a contractor adding the ADU for about, I think he said $80,000 at 499 square feet.
You also might end up putting the main house back into RSO, because normally a single family home doesn't qualify. I have a client who bought a property with an ADU, didn't realize that now the front house falls under rent stabilization, rent control. It's a nightmare if you have the wrong tenant to get them out. So just you check that out before you spend the money and put yourself in that position. Thanks, Anders, as always. Couple questions. So Christopher asked, what geographies are you finding the best ROIs on flips? So I know you talked about, Joe, not going out of state. You teach your clients locally. So where are you finding clients are finding success in flipping properties currently?
It really depends on everyone's strategy. A few years ago, I was like looking at fancy neighborhoods, and I have friends that are making a lot of money, but they're taking major risks. Some of the houses you see in Beverly Hills when you drive, my buddy Phil just bought it for $4 million, put $10 million. It's a long process. I never got into like development, but I was flipping in nice neighborhoods. And to be honest, I got honest with myself and I said, where you want to spend the less amount of risk and make the most amount of money in a short amount of time. And these are like emerging markets, like the Inglewoods, you know, the Comptons. Those are markets that, you know, you're able to like buy a house for like $400,000 or $500,000, and it's a market that is in demand right now. Might not be the market that some of us might be farming or working on, but it doesn't matter because it's the lowest amount. It's a perfect market to get started, right? It's great because you know, that's why I started in Palm Springs, because 10 years ago, prices have doubled up for the last 10 years. But I started in Coachella, and my profits were incredible. I was buying houses for $70,000, $80,000, selling them for $200,000, and I was being consistent on it. So, but in LA, if you're starting, I always say risk the least. You know, emerging markets that are not too far from where you live, make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and move on.
Yeah, where the worst neighborhoods are turning, and the ones next to them where they're a little better are getting much better. And so I definitely see that pattern here in the last few months. Okay, so we're coming up on our time here. I really appreciate all participation. Avram, I know I talked to you about your program. You and I are going to talk about that offline. We'll reschedule that.
I'm
Joe, I
happy
appreciate.
I'm pleased, thrilled with what we talked about today.
I know you are. I'm not. I want to go through your
Well,
flipping
it'll be
details.
interesting to do it with Joe here. He could point out everything. I could be a good student for everybody.
Well,
All students, right? Abraham.
you know, Joe, I had made a mistake when I booked you in that I had talked to Avram last week. I didn't notice the calendar. I had you booked for this week. He flipped a couple properties and went to the trouble of sending me his numbers on his purchase price and his budget and what he actually flipped it for, and has some pictures of the property. Wanted to kind of do a walkthrough. I'm going to do a walkthrough with him on what he actually experienced, because I think sometimes people make it sound like magic. And I know Avraham, he's a close personal friend. He lives a block from me, but he and his wife are very close friends of me and my wife. So he's a close personal friend who
I pay him for this.
2 years ago had done none of this, right? Avraham, zero.
None.
And was as stuck as anybody, and got the courage to invest a modest amount of money, and had, he thinks he didn't make much money up, but when you look at the numbers, you go, wow, just need to do more of those and do them faster, and you'll have a great business. So,
and if I may add, Bill, Abraham, also, I think this is something that gets overlooked by us as humanity in general, like the power of failure, right? Failure is just like temporal. It's not forever. It's just like, you know, what the access to the breakthrough is the breakdown. It's the only way it works.
yeah, I just finished reading a great book by Coach Dan Sullivan called The Gain, Not the Gap. We should focus on what you gain, not what you didn't achieve that you had meant to. And so you gain experience, you gain knowledge, and you gain a little bit of profit. That's a huge win when you start off. And I really want to encourage everybody to jump in. And if even Avraham can make money at this, then the rest of you
Even Avraham.
Out of state, which is, that's like a big
I can say
This is like playing tennis in the wind. I got to tell you.
I can say that because we're good friends. But the truth is, he loved it, and he goes to Kansas. It's like a new vacation. Personally, I would never go to Kansas, but he and his wife have met friends there and have socialized there.
I'll tell you something. I made my first 2 flips. I made a lot of money, and I learned nothing. Nothing went wrong.
Wow.
And I just thought that was the way it was going to go every flip, and it didn't, right? But I learned nothing.
Wow. So, okay. So let's kind of bring this to an end here. Somebody asked about the book that I just recently read. It's called by Coach Dan Sullivan, and it's in the other room. Let's see if I can pull up on Amazon real fast. Which one goes easy read? Yeah, The Gap and the Gain. The Gap talks about between that we can be negative and look at what we didn't achieve, or we can focus on what we did achieve. And he talks about the key to growth is always looking at your gains and celebrating them, and monitoring them along the way to get more gains. And so,
you know, also Bill, we are so motivated for you know, success as money, you know, like including myself as humans, right? We're motivated for money. So when we have a project like Abraham did, and if he gauges success by learning, that was a major success.
yes.
If he gauges that by maybe the money he made, might not be a lot, but it's just also like Abraham, like unwinding and removing certain habits and unlearning certain things that it's just hard because it's so ingrained in society and, you know, our traditional education school, our churches, family, whatever that is, right?
Especially in a new discipline. It's one thing if you're talking about something you've been doing for 30 years, but in a new discipline to learn that's the value. It's the currency. You have to learn and do it numerous times to get good at it. So, okay, we're going to wrap up the call. Thank you so much. Joe, thank you so much for being on the call today. Really appreciate you. Again, his seminar is 2daysummit.com. That's 2day. I'm sorry, 2dayseminar.com.
2 days.
Use code number 2022, 2-day seminar, not
The number
days,
2
but
and then
day,
day seminar.
2-day seminar. And code is 2022. If you do that, you'll get the old price that he had when I booked him, not the one in effect now when I finally got him on the call. It's a 2-day event in San Gabriel Valley. Fantastic opportunity. I know his team. I know the vendors he works with. I'm one of them. I won't be there, but I know I'll be on the Sunday part for a little bit. But I know some of the people on the team, and they're first-rate people. That's why I joined in and have networked with him. So thank you so much, Joe, for being here today. I appreciate this. We do this call every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. You can see the recordings on YouTube, as well as if you register, you'll get sent a recording link as well every week. So thank you so much, everybody, for being on the call. Appreciate it. And make this 2022 is our first call, second call of the year. Make this month, make